There wasn't no two kings. You hear somebody say it was two kings, they lied.
A lot of people have been asking to clear up, and you cleared it up.
David made a deal with Shorty Freeman. If something happened to me, you gonna be the king.
They said Larry was going around telling people that David said that if he died, he was supposed to take over.
I thought they made two kings.
Well, Larry was a little king.
Okay.
David was the king and Larry was little king.
King David was our king. Old Timer was our prince.
And Shorty was out there, but a lot of people wanted Shorty to take that spot. But it was
Which
a lot
spot?
of Shorty Freeman. There was a lot of confusion.
To take David's spot.
Right.
We lost King David in what year?
1974.
Well, David died in 74.
Right.
Around September, I believe it was. He passed away from a old bullet wound.
He had got shot by accident. It was from kidney failure. The guys and gals was on 68th and Halstead at the side where the alley was. Larry Hoover lived on Green, the next block.
Okay.
Right in back of the alley.
Mm-hmm.
So when that happened, Larry Hoover went and got his mother a brand new car.
Mm-hmm.
Put King David in it, they took him to the hospital.
When David passed away, who stepped into his seat?
Nobody knew that King David was gonna die when he died.
David made a deal with Shorty Freeman.
It was in 69 that Larry Hoover became the king of the Gangster Nation.
David told Shorty Freeman, if you flip your mob, if something happened to me, you gonna be the king. So Shorty flipped his mob.
But some people say that Shorty didn't get along with Larry, then some say he did. So that was a long story. I think it could have worked out if Shorty and Larry would have worked together, but people say that Shorty was a little old-fashioned, that he didn't want to change.
Shorty was a black king cobra, is that correct?
Right, he was a Cobra, he was King Cobra.
So that was before he became
A disciple.
Can you recall some of the guys that came out after David had transitioned and began to take those higher positions?
Shorty Freeman been there. You have Killer Red, Sircon Don Swan. You have Junior Hope. You had Greg Knox, which was known as the Crusher. And you also have US from 95th.
It was a lot of branches that were started there because Shorty Freeman, he was the king of the King Cobras.
Okay.
You know, before he hooked up with David. That's
Okay.
what Shorty was. Shorty was a King Cobra. There's so many GDs now. Yeah. When you trace them back, they come from the Cobras.
Okay.
We was 68th Street, Cobras, because we come up 68th Street.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Didi Rich is Cobra.
Right.
You know, so we were 68th Street Cobra, and plus Cobras always have been allies to the disciples.
Right.
You know, so fell in place. And we were 68th Street Cobras for a minute, but by Larry being a natural leader, Cobras cool.
Mm-hmm.
All the street organization cool, because they've been asking us for years why we didn't hook up with this and that. But we was the new generation, and everybody want to do their own thing.
All of them, everybody was Cobra. Most of the stuff that, when you say disciples, they come from the Cobras.
And let me say this too about Didi. Through the years, after we set up the board and everything, everybody used to ask me why Didi wasn't a board member.
Mm.
It's a lot of them, originals, not a board member.
Right.
Because what they represent to the organization, it ranks so much higher than a board member. They don't need a title.
Matter of fact, if you go to the board of the GDs, most of them will tell you that they were Cobras. To the disciples, and they tell their literature, they say the three kings. You know, the three kings is Charlie Atkins, Laverne Longstreet, and David Barksdale. They became disciples.
And Shorty became king
No,
after.
no, you got to go now. Let's go back to
Right.
to 1974 when we sitting up in the Stateville, and they saying they trying to crown Larry.
With Larry Hoover, he made statements that I ain't got nothing to do with none of this no more.
Right.
So Hoover said, I ain't even in it no more. I said, but these people believe in you.
Shorty was like, no, I'm supposed to be the man.
That's when it split. That's what caused people to go this way and that way.
Okay.
Cause David said if something happened, it's supposed to go to me.
Right.
lot
These
of-
guys in Stateville at one time.
Yeah, same time. We all was in the county jail, the whole 95th Street, all of us, we was all packed in there. Lil Durkee and all of them, they was like, y'all need to respect that man, that's the new king. And a lot of people didn't want to go along with it.
Like, Larry, you the guy.
But Larry's already a king.
No,
After-
Shorty was like, no, I'm supposed to be the man.
So anyway, whatever erupted, Larry ended up losing his crown.
Larry Hoover never lost his status as the chief of the gangsters.
His attitude was that he was trying to get back to the streets the best way he can, you know. But the element that had been created, it was still there, you know.
Right.
And they were divided in sections, you know. Some listened to this guy, some listened to that guy, So, you know, you had chaos, you know.
David made a deal with Shorty Freeman. That's why it's the BDs and the GDs now.
Right.
Because of that conversation.
The unity wasn't there, you know, behind the wall.
When Larry came to Stateville, they were trying to hit him. I was in the tailor shop, he was in the book bindery.
It would be better if everybody would be unified up under, you know, a leadership, you know. And one of the persons that was crucial to that was Durkee.
Lil Harlem DeSavio claimed that he ran all the joints. King David gave him that authority to run all the joints. And you had other disciples that was under him, but Lil Harlem was calling shots of a lot of people.
Okay.
I was right there, D House. Larry was in D House. Sam
who had
Lawrence was
that
in D
meeting?
House. Baldy was in D House.
Who had that meeting?
They said it was Don Durkee.
So anyway, when I come in from the tailor shop, I get word what's finna happen. They finna hit him, and I go to the guys that was really running things.
Lil Harlem had people to come over there like they was finna talk peace, but Lil Harlem came over there and caused the split. And then the joint was finna go up. You had all the G's and the BDs finna go at each other.
I said, no, he ain't did, you know. And they guess he have, and we was arguing. So I went to the person that they had.
Lil Harlem DeSavio,
I told him, stand down, no, you know. And because I was mostly guiding all these younger guys.
Right.
So Hoover come in, and that's when everything started. So Hoover say, I ain't told him nothing. So then after all of that, I told him, man, if y'all gonna do that, we you know, we knew it was finna be a bloodshed.
Can pay attention because the game is way more wicked and diabolical.
But I didn't see Durkee that day on that yard. All I seen was Larry.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I was told it was Larry, Dirk, and Killer Red. How does Killer Red come in to play with that?
Yeah, he was them Falcons. Them Falcons is original. They're original. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about people like White Cloud, all them,
Right.
that's them original disciples.
when they went to the yard, they was finna get into it. The GDs and BDs. They talked and tried to bring peace because they was finna go to war.
On the yard with Larry, and what transpires? Are you there?
Yeah, I was on the
Okay.
yard. They was finna go to war. If they would've went to war, the BDs was gonna lose because everybody was with Larry. Larry had the old joint hooked up.
Hoover never lost his status as the chief of the gangsters. Right?
Okay.
Never lost that.
Right.
Them gangsters honor Larry through the whole script.
All the time you were in prison, that was solid.
Before he left the streets,
They was finna go to war, and Crusher had got the joint back. Crusher was the type of person, he didn't feel nobody asked him a David Wade. And he was the only one ever known to talk back to David Wade. He was at a big meeting out in the park, a whole lot of us out there, and he said something smart, and some of the fellas was finna get it. And David said, leave him alone. Because Crusher, that's a real gangster. He in that gangster world. Crusher ain't nothing nice.
How did he change that atmosphere?
What is going back to that little short guy, Lil Harlem,
And Holland Daceview.
Okay,
Lil Holland.
I don't know
Yeah,
that
Lil
part.
Holland.
said he had all the joints. Him and Crusher was at it. He told Lil Harlem, David ain't gave you no joints. You need to sit down somewhere. So Crusher ended up running. Every joint he go to, he ended up taking it over. He ended up running Stateville.
Holland was a Don. Durkee was a Don. I was on the yard that day because I was in Stateville. You know what I'm saying? When they made Larry, they like, Larry got it now.
When that split came, Larry still had loyalty of those original gangsters.
All the man had to do is say the word, the joint getting tore up. He always tried to keep the peace. Even with La Harlem, when he started that mess at the library and caused people to want to kill each other over at the library with the split.
And Lil Durk campaigned for Larry. Durk was going around telling people that David had made Larry king under him.
Durk causes a situation whereas they recrown Larry. And there was recrowning of Larry.
Recrowning.
Right. Yeah, he pushed this. Yeah, y'all need to honor him, you know, the new king. So when he didn't get what he wanted, he turned against Larry. He would like the Larry, but he changed his ideology about Larry after that split. He went all the way in left field. He wanted to run the whole joint for all the disciples.
How does Larry deal with this situation with everybody branching into different?
He wanted to keep the peace, but when they kept pushing the issue, Larry said, okay.
So we had a big meeting on the yard. Larry retook his position.
He didn't really want to be bothered with it, period, but
Right.
he ended up stuck with it. Durkee pushed the issue, they dropped it in his lap. Since you want to do it that way, I'm over the GD mob. If y'all BDs want to go that way, go y'all way, do y'all thing. But I'm running this. Larry let him know, I'm running this. You don't like it? He was going to war. In the joint, whenever something went down, Larry's strongest force was Cabrini and the low end. We had it taken care of. When they was challenging him with all that mess, the north side told everybody, we said, anybody you want us to deal with, just let us know. Durk told people, he gonna be the new king, y'all need to honor him. So he said, look, Larry, we're gonna do that. He was hanging under Larry, trying to position and be, well known, but then when things turn around, he behind Shorty, because he said, Shorty, you can be the new king and I can be under you.
And then Shorty does what?
Well, down the line, Shorty got mad. I don't know what happened, but Shorty like, no, it's supposed to go to me.
And Shorty was out there, but a lot of people wanted Shorty to take that spot. He was out for power. He wanted Shorty to be the new king.
It's supposed to go to me, not Larry. You know what I'm saying? And they broke.
And Shorty becomes
the king of the black disciples.
That's when the split really got heavy.
But if you think about it, all he did, we were using the word black anyway. Back then, everything was black. Black Panthers, black this, black that.
Right.
So all he did, he made sure that everything was right in place. Black, gangster, which was them, gangster, disciple, nation, because we were so big then.
It's just that some of them brothers that came into it when they established Black Gangster Disciple Nation, they never was a disciple or a gangster. They just came into that unification, so they didn't know which way to go. And they had to choose. But Larry always been recognized as the chief of those gangsters, so that was nothing to even decide.
And right upon what he said, when the merge happened in '69, people have asked, well, where does the BGDN come from? Larry had a right to make some changes.
And I've been begging certain brothers that have a little leadership under the organization, under the blue, and they leadership is keeping us divided from one love. Because the selfishness, the self-appointed chiefs,
understood.
The power was struck. The brothers with the muscle still on that bully stuff. They're keeping us divided, and then on the growth and development, there's certain things we don't sell, we don't do.
So it all was wrapped into those four words, simple.
Right.
He didn't throw one out. Black, gangster, disciple, and nation.
They had united, became the Black Gangster Disciple Nation.
Right.
It was black, gangster, disciple.
Right.
It should have all been the same, one thing.
Larry thing was he wanted to migrate and grow. And Shorty wanted to stay in the same circle he was in. He didn't want to migrate to better things in life. He was old-fashioned.
Okay.
He didn't want to change. Yeah.
So Larry wanted to do bigger and greater things,
Greater
like
things,
growth
yeah.
and development.
Real estate and business, he was always
Yeah.
about growing.
Because like I say, we were gentlemen. And let me say this too. We was gentlemen gangsters way longer than we was guerrilla gangsters.
Right.
And I
Totally
pride
understand.
myself on today. Today is being a gentleman.
Get somebody, because, when you got chaos and you got all these angry men in one place, and none of them respecting the right of others, then you just have killings, disorder and tension. And so I think that he was convinced by people who respected who he was on the streets that you could bring order to the situation. I don't know if he reluctantly adopted that, gladly or whatever, but he came back into, the order, to bring peace among.
I said, but these people believe in you. And when I act, they say, I said, then you they king,
Right.
like that. So that's when he got his crown back, put on his head.
I put it like this, violence is the last resort.
Right.
If we can't work it out like men, then that's why all this other mess been going on since day one, these wars and all this other mess. Because they just can't work it out.